the next part of our program. You know, face-to-face learning is no longer the only mode of learning today. The rapid growth of technology has introduced other modes of learning, which you will allow me to call distributed learning. In fact, over the last 20 years, distributed learning has become a major force in the educational sector. Now, one form of distributed learning, as you know, is mobile phone learning, or M-learning. And over the last 2 years, I've had the responsibility and privilege to think through and actually work through a mobile learning platform. I began as a skeptic, but having done some research and compared students who have taken face-to-face learning and their performance with students who have taken education through mobile learning, I have a different perspective today. For two reasons. There are many reasons, but I'll give you only two. Number one, I was amazed that the attrition rate for mobile learning students was 0. Nobody dropped out of class. But some of you may have had classes where some students have actually dropped in face-to-face learning. Now, the other thing that amazed me was the fact that the students who did, you know, who used the mobile phone learning board did better, at least 10% better than the students actually sitting face-to-face with the teacher in class. Now, I know you have many questions about that, but we don't have time to get into my research. But that is only one form of learning that is challenging the face-to-face learning as we've had it traditionally. Now, the second form of distributed learning, which is actually the substance of our discussion today, is e-learning. And e-learning has become a key player. And it is a key player because of the fact that it's a tool that offers quality education and combines all styles of learning. Whether you're talking about auditory learning, whether you're talking about kinesthetic learning, or visual learning, e-learning offers all those combined. And hence, you can no longer continue just teaching face-to-face without an awareness of how technology has transformed the classroom. And considering that we are heading to be 1 billion people on this continent, and by around 2025, you're going to have 4 to 5 Africans to every European, we have a responsibility to transform education. And it's therefore my joy at this time to invite some of the key players in e-learning. And we're going to begin by having Daystar University. But to save us time, let me invite our panelists to actually sit here. So we have Dr. John Meso. I believe we have Professor Mahoa.
No, it's Dr. Mwenga.
Oh, Dr. Mwenga is here.
Yes.
How can I forget my friend? Oh, and Dr. Kihoro. Please, would you come over here so that we can save some time? And the first 10 minutes will actually be a time for Daystar University to tell us, you know, how they are doing. Now, let me mention about this. So we're going to have each of them talk for 10 minutes, and then we'll have actually some time of discussion after the 3 of them have talked.
Colleagues. I guess I have today, is that working? That's the problem with technology. Today from Daystar, I have good news and bad news. The good news is that we have started. We are, in fact, doing something. Can't hear.
I think we just need to talk a little. You can hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, we've started. We have not gotten as far as we would have liked to have been at this time. Let me first just give the status of what we are doing, and then talk a bit about our direction, where we're headed, and then just identify a couple of the issues that are facing us. We are using Moodle as the platform for e-learning. We have two people that are actively involved in it. We have one person who is on a reduced teaching load to facilitate the implementation of e-learning. He's kind of a technical person, but not truly an ICT kind of technical person. But he kind of focuses on the technical aspects of the e-learning. What systems are there, how to do it, some of the mobile learning that we just heard about with phones and so on. And then we have another one-person department. We call it the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning. And
You just need to speak. Go loudly.
all right. We have the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning. This person is primarily involved in the pedagogical issues of learning and how are we going to use the technology to make education better. So these two have been working together. As far as the number of staff and faculty that are using it, we have, in round numbers, say 100 full-time lecturers and about the same number or a little bit more part-time lecturers. And of those, there are about 20 that are very enthusiastic, who are using this in their classroom. We hold these training sessions, and these 20 people faithfully show up and are very interested in doing it. Our strategy is in the philosophy, I guess, of what you can call walk before you run kind of approach. We have agreed, at least by consensus, that we will focus first on what's called blended learning, where we will use e-learning as to supplement what happens in the classroom. To supplement, hey, that's working. You don't have to shout into it. To supplement what goes on in the classroom before we would jump into a total e-learning for a whole course or a program or distance learning. We've also agreed that we want to start with the minimum. We would like to get as many lecturers as possible, ideally 100%, who will at least put their course outline on Moodle so the students have access to it. Secondly, that they will put their class notes on the Moodle platform so the students have access to that. There's two reasons. One, it should cut down on the cost of photocopying and paper. But secondly, if the notes are already available, you don't have to, the students don't spend their time sitting there writing the notes, and the lecturer doesn't spend time in the classroom reading the notes to the class. They can focus on analyzing and processing the information. In order to facilitate this, we've set up we have these training sessions, but we have just completed the construction of an ICT center. In that center, it houses a central server which will contain all of the content for the entire university, be able to distribute it to the classrooms. And it includes a training center where the lecturers can come to be taught how to use the Moodle platform, and a workshop area where the lecturers will be able to actually come. If they're uncomfortable doing it from their offices on the network, they can come to this area and prepare the content with assistance from somebody there that can help them through the difficult areas of using the Moodle platform. That's where we are today. There may be a number of challenges. I've only listed two here that we're trying to address. The first one is a technical issue that I'm sure has actually a relatively simple solution. But we haven't succeeded yet in being able to just automatically populate the class sessions in Moodle from our database of registered students. And that means that somebody is doing it manually, which is a huge task. The second one, and the bigger challenge, I think, is the level of computer skills of our lecturers and our staff. It runs the whole gamut, from some who are very good, and to the other end of the spectrum, to lecturers who don't type, and they still hand in their handwritten notes to a secretary to have them typed. And when you try to envision those people receiving and marking papers electronically, that's a real challenge. So we've just done a survey. We're planning to offer some very basic courses in word processing and spreadsheets and so on to try to upgrade the level of computer skills of our staff. And that will lead into then their ability to use the Moodle e-learning platform. So that's where we are at Daystar. Thank you.
Dr. Mohor. Thank you very much, Chairman of this session. Members, I want to present a summary of what we are doing at JKUAT. And I will start by saying that we have gone through phases at JKUAT. We started a long time ago, actually about almost 10 years ago. And we have had a trial, then we start that phase, goes down, we start another one. And now we are now in the third phase. So talking about the third phase, or phase 3, I would say that as by last week but one, we launched our School of Open Distance and E-Learning. It was actually passed by the Senate, and soon you will be seeing us in papers as we announce our programs that will be run through e-learning and the distance learning models. So this school that we have set up has kind of merged what used to be called School of E-Learning and our continuing education program office, the one we used to call CEP, and therefore we relied on our centers that are all over. You know, JKUAT is like an octopus. We are everywhere. So these centers will be converted to be our examination centers, and soon it will be in the papers on how we are going to do that. So what I would say is that I am the manager in charge of e-learning, but soon there will be a director in charge of open distance and e-learning. Recently we also tabled our e-learning policy in the Dean's Committee, and it was approved. It is going through some few corrections before it is tabled in the Senate, and because it is in line with the SOTEL document, which was also approved, we are almost certain it will be passed. Now, in the last 1 year, we have had several activities going on at JKUAT, even as we await the new structures to be formed. There has been 2 projects going on. One of them, which we could say has been successful, is the learning of MSc in research methods through e-learning, and I would call it blended learning. What happened is that we had a funding from Forum, the Regional Universities Forum, in Southern Africa, which funded the project. So we had invited students. We had about 30 students in the first cohort, and those students were given a new state-of-the-art laptop on admission, and the content was supposed to be picked from our learning management system, which is Moodle for now. And we have had the first cohort defending their projects after they have gone through the project, the course successfully. We have another one going on with, again, about 30 students. And those students have been giving us feedback, and we can say that we have tested blended learning, but not
e-learning. We tried one e-learning project sometimes back by running a small course we call political in mathematics, but our experience was not very nice, and therefore we had to hold on until the structures and the systems were in place. So far, we are going on with digitization, and we have several digitization projects going on. We are digitizing our program, Masters in Statistics, and even other courses. We have also been doing some sensitization of members of staff, and so far we have been able to sensitize at least 100 lecturers, and they have uploaded their materials on the system. We have been able to bring into the system more than 1,000 students within the last 1 year. Now, right now, there is a project that we are doing with the KENET, as you heard from the director. This project, we are calling it e-learning ecosystem for implementation of mobile learning, and that project is ongoing. We have already done quite a number of things, and we can even report that we have started uploading content on a system which we configured, still hosted at KENET, which you can even try if you get the address. It is accessible using any mobile phone, and the students will be going through that course starting January the next year. So we have also encouraged other methods of using E by collecting data using hosted systems. Almost all the data we are using on checking what's happening is collected online using live survey system. And other things have been done, like the ICT Directorate has expanded our bandwidth. Recently, we are able to move up from what we used to use. And there are so many other things happening on the ground. So with those remarks, I think that is good report from our side. Thank you.
How many students visit the website, for example? Because that's where you launch the e-learning platform from. For various reasons. Those are other issues for another day to discuss. So we now have a good number of students. In fact, now it's reaching 1,000. I'll give you the exact number when I get on SMS, who are actively using our e-learning courses. And we have staff who actually believe, even from the Faculty of Science where we have a full course, who believe that this has made their work easier. Because when they are traveling like a workshop like this, they point the student to the materials online, go there, I won't be there, please go through this material, we'll discuss next time when I come. So they have confirmed, various surveys we have conducted, that it's a great thing and they're ready to move on. Blended instruction is quite important. Now, what we do, I think I've already explained what we do, the process of engaging staff. They come to a workshop, they are trained on how to develop content into distance education mode, and then we convert into e-learning mode and CDs. Future directions. We developed a charging model, how to charge students. And anybody is going through these materials. But that was not implemented for various reasons, political or otherwise. Because we wanted to keep some little premium so as to continue engaging staff and paying ourselves in terms of the cost of developing the material, because it's not easy, it's not cheap. But that has not been done, so we are thinking of looking at it and implementing that charging model. The second thing we are trying to do is to strengthen the Directorate of E-Learning, which has just recently been created. I mentioned about incubation, which Professor Wema began about 6-7 years ago. We became of age, and the University of Nairobi now has a full-fledged Directorate of E-Learning. With the director, I don't know why you didn't invite her. Professor Madam Kidombo.
Because you are here.
All right. So I used to deal with it. Now we are hiving it off to them. And the plan was to hive it off as soon as possible. But it took 6 years to deal with that. So we have that Director of E-Learning. We want to strengthen it. We are still supporting them. We are still converting their content. When they do it in Kikuyu, they give it to us and we convert and give it back to them. And we are having a very good working relationship in that respect. But we want to strengthen them by engaging more staff, employing them, and even now, our staff who used to do these 6 of them, we have retained them. They want them, but we have said, no, that's our staff, we can use them in other subjects, in other areas. But we want to strengthen them maybe by giving a few of them to that directorate. Number 3, we want to encourage staff to use the platform to post their reading or notes, including the timetables online. Let me tell you one thing. E-learning is good, it's excellent, but I'll tell you there are many other issues about it. Okay? Issues to do with accessibility, issues to do with the change in mindset and etc. So what we want to encourage staff to do is to post their reading notes, even PowerPoint presentations onto their various pages. Every member of staff at the University of Nairobi has a website we create for you automatically when we create an email for you. So we attach the website to you, and if you care to log in and set it up, you can post your materials. Yeah, I'm using the word you care, because most of them don't. It's there, almost about only 20% of the staff whom we have created the website for are actively using them. On your website, you put your notes there, you put your teaching timetable there, the times you're available, in order to encourage the students the culture of using the technology. We have very good road infrastructure. We want the students to start using it. And that's the beginning point, encouraging staff to post their reading notes, not necessarily in a very highly structured and formatted e-learning mode, but even PowerPoint and Word notes. We may need to begin there, going back to the basics. And then we can encourage those who are able to have time to convert this into e-learning instructional mode at some point, as we continue to have more budgets. Thank you so much. Sorry to take that. We have 3,439 active users on e-learning platform. But remember, we are 50,000 students. And then over 50,000. Then the number of courses online are 434 active courses online. I gave you about the programs. I thought I should share the statistics as well. Thank you.
So again, Da Silva, my name. I am from Strathmore, and the one who should be here is Dr. Ruben Marwanga, the Dean of IT. He's not here, I was ambushed. Never mind, it's okay. I'm going to give you kind of an overview of how Strathmore University is regarding e-learning strategy and implementation. 3 points. The first point is students, the second are lectures, and the third are facilities. Now students, they are the easy ones in terms of they are so much involved in this thing of using the mobile or using their laptops for learning and also enjoying themselves. We have 5,000 students right now, and 1,800 have laptops. We are trying to also assess a fund from an NGO called Kiva. You should Google them. It's very nice, big NGO, American-based, in 250 places around the world. They give loans for students to buy laptops. So we want, obviously, to get that each student who gets into the gates of Strathmore has his or her laptop. So we are very far above the MLU 1 to 10. Yeah. Yes. So this is the students. Then we have formed they have formed by themselves in sets of clubs, for instance, to learn Android and other mobile-based things. We have provided them some boot camps, so sponsored by Safaricom. They have developed loads of applications related with education. So, and they have won some competitions. We have a student called Alex Nika who won the national competition here, sponsored by Nokia. Then he went to Finland and he beat the Americans. He came first one, and then United States second. And then he got $20,000 and won an 8 Nokia phone. So it was very nice. So as I said, this is the easiest one. Our students are ready. Another thing that helps that is the facilities. I will skip lectures, leave it to them for the third place. We have gone into the cloud. Our platform, Strathmore.edu, is based now in Google. We did away with some budget provision for huge storage capacity. We don't need it any longer. Yeah? We have each student, the moment we get into the cloud, each student is given 7 gigs, so we have 35 terabytes of free installed capacity. I don't know where. I thank God I don't know where, so I can't put a bomb there. Yeah. Then we have our platform is like Daystar. We have Moodle. It's an open source, and we are now we have an ongoing training on e-learning for the newcomers and also for the old lecturers, who sometimes are the worst ones. Yeah, and we have, I stand to be corrected by Meoli, but I think we have the fastest campus, I think, in terms of the number of students and broadband. I have experienced some close to 100 megabytes per second downloading things. Streaming movies is not a problem for us. Yeah, though we advise people to work instead. Now, we have 2 courses which are now given online. One is a diploma in microfinance, where we have students from South Sudan, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Uganda. And we have newly put on the e-learning platform a master's in applied philosophy and ethics, which has got some nice niche of people interested in it in the United States. So it's a stackable one. They do some subjects, get a certificate, some more, and final report, they get a diploma, and eventually, if they do all subjects and dissertation, they get their master's science in, or master arts in philosophy and ethics. Then, finally, the issue of the lectures. This is the hardest challenge. Yeah, we want them to do as Dr. here said about the University of Nairobi, that put your things there, try to learn a bit more, to create some forum and all, and it is not easy. We have some champions. Dr. Ruben Maruanga is our e-learning champion for the whole university. We have Dr. Joseph Sevilla with his iLab Africa and support from Safaricom and Samsung and Siemens and HP. So those things are there, but it's, to get them jumping into the wagon is not an easy task. Yeah. So I think this is a kind of more or less summary of what we have. Google has given us 50% support, and our campus now is 100% wireless. So all those 1,800 kids with laptops can be in their labs and the e-learning platforms wherever within the borders of our campus, and even a little bit outside also, unfortunately. Yeah. Then finally, 2 take-home message. One is to KENET. I think KENET has all that it takes to establish a platform for all universities in Kenya to get together and learn from each other on this issue of e-learning. I see most likely here, University of Nairobi, JKUAT, and Daystar are ahead of us, Strathmore, in terms of e-learning. So why can't they bring us to their level? You see? So that is my idea. It's like European Union. You know, you bring them in, and then you make, I'm sorry, because now it's not the time to talk about the European Union. They are in trouble. But it was a good idea, you know, even for Greece and from Ireland and Spain and Italy. So bring us up, you know, get the Greece and the Spain up, and then we are all in the same level. And there is no problem of market. There is enough students for all of us. And the second take-home message is that in 1996, a chap called Ayrton Senna was a Formula One champion. He was arguably one of the best in terms of what he did in the time he lived. In 1996, he missed the curve in Monaco. I don't know why. Nobody knows as yet. If you go to Wikipedia, they tell you that they don't. Fact is that instead of doing the curve, he went straight and hit the barrier there. He died. Now, my take-home message is that any university which does not go into e-learning and e-teaching is going to follow the same case of Ayrton Senna.